guys were both, your brother R. Kelly and you, CareyKelly, were molested by your own sister,
Yes.
Theresa.
Yes.
Okay, can you? We got a lot to unwind here because I want to understand, like, how old were you when this first happened?
I was around 6, around 6 years old.
6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how old was your sister at the time?
Well, she's 9 years older than me. She had to be about maybe 15.
15 years old.
Yes.
Oh, how many siblings do you guys have total between all of you?
It's 4 of us.
It's 4. So
Yes.
it's 3 boys and 1 girl.
Yes.
Okay, and so were all of your brothers molested as well by your sister, or just you and R. Kelly?
I'm not sure about Bruce.
He won't talk about it?
He never talked about it. And then he's like maybe 2 years younger than her. So Bruce is the second oldest.
Okay, so it was different.
So it's a little different. So it's like they neck and neck when it comes to age, pretty much. Me and Robert is the babies when it came to my sister.
Now, how old were you? And you said you were 6. How old was your brother at the time?
I can't. I say he's 4 years older than me.
Oh, so he was 10.
He was 10, somewhere around in that area right there, because I really didn't notice right away when Robert was being held in the house.
Oh,
so I can't I can't remember like when that took place, but it had to be probably before I turned 7. I noticed that he was in the house, and I get to go outside now.
Now, where was Bruce when all this was taking place?
Well, Bruce never stayed in the house.
Oh, he was always gone.
He was always, no, she would let him go outside as well. But see, Bruce never got in trouble. Like me and Robert, we have done something in my sister's mind to the point where that was an excuse for y'all, you on punishment.
It's interesting. A lot of parents right now, and I hate to bring this up, are fighting because they said that their daughters are trapped in a house. And so when you look at everything that your brother is being accused of and the conversations that you and I have had, they kind of mimic some of the same things that your sister did to you. And I kind of want you to explain a little bit of that to the viewers, what you're comfortable
Approach me. This is before it actually happened. So she told me to come in a room with her. This is the first time that she attempted to touch me. She told me to come in a room with her. And when I came in the room, she was in a robe.
Okay.
And she opened up her robe, and she didn't have anything on up under the robe. And she told me to come over to her. Excuse me. And as a kid in my mind, I'm confused because I know this is my sister. I'm 6. I know this wrong. Mm-hmm. And she's way older than me. And first I thought she was playing, but she would, she was insisting on me coming over to her. So I was hesitant. And so she grabbed my arm and she took my hand and started rubbing it on her private part. And I started crying, and I guess that kind of scared her. Mm-hmm. And so she told me to just go back in the living room. And that was the first time that she attempted to test the waters. The next time, I tried to find a way, like, to tell my mom in a way where she wouldn't be looking at me like I done something wrong, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I told my mom, I said, do you have to go to work? I remember asking her that.
At 6 years old.
Do you have to go to school? Can you stay home today?
Wow.
And she said, no, baby, I can't stay home. I have to do these things to provide a roof over y'all head. And I have to do these things to make sure that y'all comfortable and y'all straight. And she was like, what's wrong, baby? I miss you. And so as a kid, it was a call out for help, but in my way, it was like sending a bat signal, about a week later.
Okay, this is after the first incident.
This is after the first incident.
Okay.
And maybe about a week later, she told me to stay in the house. And this time she was more aggressive.
Oh.
She was more aggressive to the point where she just
take your time.
She took my face, and I'm short at the time, and she brought me into the room from the living room, and she had the robe on again, and she sit on the bed, and she just grabbed my head like this, and she just took my head and put it down by her private part, and
wow.
She told me to lick her private parts. So of course I didn't know what I was doing.
At 6 years old.
6 years old, and she was like, stick your tongue out, lick it hard, lick it fast.
She's giving you
instructions, and I just started crying, and
you were crying while this was.
And then she went down and started. She started. Thank you. She went down and she started giving me oral sex with her mouth. Even as a kid, I'm knowing this wrong, and I'm not condoning this. Human nature,
yeah.
So of course I'm erected.
At 6.
At 6, and she laid down on her back and she grabbed me, and she tried to make me lay on her, but I was kind of like fighting to lay on her. So she turned around and laid me down, and she sat on me, and she took her hand and she grabbed my private part, and she put it in.
Wow. And this went on for how long?
It had to be about maybe 6 years.
6 years. And your mom never.
She never knew.
Now she's passed. She's since passed away. Did she know before her passing?
I never found the courage to tell her. I never found the strength to tell her what was happening to me. I regret that. I regret that now.
I know it's hard for you to come forward and share something personal like this, especially dealing with a family member that is still living, like you and Theresa, you still talk?
I haven't talked to Theresa since, I haven't seen her since my mom died in 93.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The last time I spoke with my sister, my son had got shot. I was on the news at Christ Hospital. Because at the time I thought that the police was bogus, and so I involved the media.
Okay.
So when I did that, my sister saw it on the news that her nephew had got shot. My son had me believing that they tried to rob him because he was R. Kelly nephew.
Oh.
So as a father, I'm not trying to hear nothing from the police. So I'm not trying to battle them. So I went to the news to expose them. But the whole truth of the matter is that ain't how it went down. So when it was news coverage on that, she saw it on the news and she actually called the hospital.
Oh.
And that was the first time that I heard her voice in 20 years, almost 20 years.
How did it make you feel?
Eerie, like in a kid, man, state. I'm here trying to, powerless. Like, she called and the nurse said, "Are you Carey?" I said, "Yes." She say, "Someone is on the phone for you." There was a lot of people calling the hospital because they seen the coverage on the news, and so I asked the nurse who it was, and said, "Your sister." She said, "She's your sister."
Oh.
And so it was like the Green Mile, walking to the phone, to go to the phone, to pick the phone up and actually speak to her. And when I did finally speak with her, she asked me, was Braille okay? She seen it on the news, and she's praying for him and things of that nature. And she told me that I couldn't help but tell her, "Theresa, I just want to tell you, I appreciate you calling, checking on my son, but I just want to let you know that I forgive you."
Oh. Take your time.
"I forgive you for what you done to me." And the biggest blowback with that is we all human beings and nobody's perfect.
How did she react when you told her you forgive her?
She said, "I don't know what you're talking about."
She denied it.
She denied it. She said, "I don't know what you're talking about." She said, I forgive you for molesting me as a kid. I remember everything. And I just want you to know that I forgive you because you're my sister." She told me, "Do not call her. Do not contact her." And it's been that way for years since my son was shot and she called that hospital. I feel like she molested me again.
In that moment.
In that moment, I felt like it was more mental than physical this time. Because it's almost like my mama's favorite saying was, "Don't piss on my face and tell me it's rain." If it's piss, I can adjust and adapt to that. The fact that you told me, "Hey, I did this and I didn't mean to do it." But the fact that she acted like I was having nightmares to get these memories and it never happened, it was all in a dream, is what it set me back.
Especially with all the recent allegations and the allegations of him impregnating a cousin of yours, of you all. I know he probably views incest very different, but from what we spoke about on the phone, and I know you don't know much, but you do believe that Theresa touched him as well.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do, because like I said, I can't say I wasn't there the same time that Robert was there, like in the house where I can actually see. I know what was happening to me. And I know that when I got to go outside, I was so glad. And he couldn't.
We heard a source that's been, who's been in contact with him, that he's willing to release the girls and go to therapy if he is not charged. That's the deal that he made in preparations of trying to go to Africa and live in Africa. And what do you think about all that? Just hearing me say that.
My thing is this: if the authorities make a deal like that with him, they crazier than the fish with titties in a thong in a strip club.
So you believe your brother needs to go to jail?
I believe this